properties.
Do you know what clipping is?
Oh, alright,
Nope.
there we go. We got audio.
Basically, in a recording, there's like kind of like a wall when it comes to recording, and when you talk loud enough that it hits that wall, it can't go any louder. So what happens is it becomes all distorted, and it just sounds like shit.
It's because it cuts off the top of a waveform.
Let's see.
So it's a flat line.
Let's turn off the noise gate.
Ooh,
for
yeah, I do that. That's what I sound like every night. just.
Oh my god.
I can't do it that loud.
Do it. Just that and like constant stream of tears.
What does my life become?
Haven't gone live yet. Don't tell me we've gone
Every
live.
night.
Don't tell me we've gone live already.
We're already live, yeah.
Yes.
Oh no.
Alright.
More machine gun jerks.
I regret my life's decisions in 5, 4,
72,
3,
19,
2.
85.
Shut the fuck up.
69.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the latest broadcast of Rockland Rebel Radio, a mostly local music podcast. No? Why the hell are you fucking acting this way? I have it on high performance. Why are you being such a bitch?
Ooh. Yeah, Jay, why are you being a bitch?
Shit,
Jake's
I don't know.
fine. I don't know what's something up with my laptop. Why are you detecting drop signals at when I only have one program open? We only have 2 programs open. Like what the more details? Oh yes, like you're using a lot of my CPU. Like why the fuck are you using so much CPU right now? And task here. See any other task I can end? No, I can't. What the hell? 88% of my CPU is using the other. Yeah, so 70. It's so fucking.
Is that? Don't tell me that's about tribe
What?
or anything.
Oh.
I'm in a group that fucking someone added me to. One of you faggots added me to from Yeet, and just everyone keeps talking about sex dolls right now.
What tribe?
Yeah.
It was probably me. Or
Yeah.
it was probably Matt.
Yeah, it was Matt. Okay.
Matt adds anyone.
But
to anything.
everyone keeps talking about sex dolls, and everyone keeps asking these questions like, can they have sex? And I'm like, are you obsessed with getting like cucked by a sex doll or something? That's what it sounds like people are wanting right now, because they just want their sex dolls to fuck. And I'm like, what are you just gonna sit in the corner, sad and alone, and crying and jerking off? All right. I don't know. People in tribe love me because I'm a gay faggot dog and I own it. And I just always post about gay shit, and everyone's just like, and people in tribe just like are like, hell yeah, go on with it, man, and I just do. And I'm just like becoming a legend.
Yeah.
And that's.
I like how the Yeet group on Facebook was like a popular thing for like a couple weeks, but then it just died.
Oh, it's because it's a public group. Like,
yeah, it's public. I can't even post on it without it going on my wall.
That shit goes on your wall?
Yeah.
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 Does no one know how to use technology in this group?
That's always been how Facebook has been working with groups. It'll just show up.
I mean, you can make groups private and whatnot,
Yeah.
but like
you have to make them private so people can actually mess.
Oh no.
Yeah.
yeah.
What are you doing?
Let's see. So I need to try and figure out.
See, if you make it into a private group, like right now, people might actually start using it again. I mean, I'd post in it.
Now I wonder if. All right, so I can't really monitor stream chat. But I don't know if there's going to be anyone listening to this live.
Yay.
So
you will not be acknowledged.
yeah, I probably won't be. Thank you, Angus. All right, so we're gonna actually start recording in 3, 2, 1, Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the latest broadcast of Rockland Rebel Radio, a mostly local music podcast. I'm your host, Ian, and with me is my brother and co-host, Angus.
So,
And also with us today is Jake Kearney of Spidera.
Hello.
And his
Kearney.
lovely girlfriend, Noelane. Did I pronounce it right?
Noelane.
Noelane. Fuck.
that's a person. I don't know. That's what I do. I don't even know how to pronounce your name, and I'm just not even gonna try.
Well, you see, I'm the guy who has to like intro the show, so you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like I gotta know people's names. It's a curse, and
Just do it in post.
I don't care anymore. I'm like 30 seconds into this actual recording, and I don't care.
just quantize it.
Angus, just stop talking. But actually do talk, because we need to fill time.
Yay!
But here on this episode of Rockland Rebel Radio, we will be discussing the music we've been listening to this week. Jake might tell us about Spidera stuff or whatever he's been doing with music.
Yeah, we've got a couple things in mind.
And then
Well, in store, but we'll get to that at some point.
yeah, and then we'll talk about the release of the week. They debut LP of Everett-based progressive power metal band Perennial Quest, and then we'll dive into a tiny bit of music news and upcoming releases, and then yeah, that'll about do it for the show.
Yeah, and then we'll all have a group suicide pact.
Are we still doing that thing where we get into like what we've been listening to lately?
Yeah, that's the very first thing we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tradition.
Yes. But as guests, would you guys like to start us off today with what you've been listening to this last week? Or since you guys haven't been on like in a weekly basis, like just tell us what you've been listening to recently.
Well, since the last time I was on here, I've kind of gotten into a few different bands. As you guys already know, I'm a huge Dimebag Darrell fan and a massive Pantera fan.
Yeah.
And so a couple months ago, I started to move on to other stuff that Dime was in. And I actually ended up finding out about Damage Plan. I had known about Damage Plan prior, but I never like actually listened to them.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, I listened to their album and I just fell in love with it right away. It's just a great album. It's a lot like Pantera, but that at the same time, it's just so different in all the right ways, and it just sounds amazing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's like they would combine those groove and thrash elements that they had in Pantera, but they mixed them with nu metal, and it just came into something different.
Nu metal, really? Yeah. And it made it good?
Oh yeah, it made it amazing. They actually had Corey Taylor do guest vocals for a song.
Holy shit, that's pretty dope.
And Zach Wilde for a couple songs.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's pretty saucy.
And aside from Damage Plan, I've also gotten into another band called Ex Mortis. You already know this.
Yeah.
I started listening to them because I found out that they combined elements of thrash with melodic death with neoclassical, which if anyone knows me, you know, they know that I love all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And to combine it into one band and just to combine it into one, it's just mind-blowing.
Oh, definitely is mind-blowing. Like, those guys have some serious talent. Like,
Oh yeah.
I haven't been like a devout fan, but like I've had a deep respect for them ever since I saw them live opening for Dark Tranquillity in like, I think it was 2014, and yeah, that was just a fun night. They've got some really cool like.
Oh.
I think they had like neoclassical bits in the mix a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
They were just really fun with all their shredding, all like their writing. It was just really tight knit group. And,
Oh yeah, Conan is an amazing guitar player.
oh, yeah, definitely.
He's
Like,
definitely in my top 10 now.
really top 10 that quickly.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Nice.
Dude's incredible.
You know
And
what else is
he's
incredible? You.
I'm touched.
Literally. He's been touched.
Not yet.
Show us on the doll where he touched
God.
you.
Oh no. But
Show us on the guitar where he touched you. Because this is a musical podcast.
but yeah, I actually got the Ex Mortis CD for Christmas. I got Ride Forth, and I've been jamming to that a lot recently.
Nice.
Same with Damage Plan. I've listened to that 100 times ever since I got it.
Nice. That's
So
pretty nice.
I'm trying to think of what else I've been listening to. Those are the two things that come to mind. I recently discovered my my love for Randy Rhoads.
For those of us who don't know who Randy Rhoads is, mind to give us a little quick rundown?
No, tell them they should go jump in front of a car. Because they don't know.
Randy Rhoads was the first solo guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne, and he played on his first 2 solo albums. Some really recognizable songs that he did with Ozzy were Crazy Train, everyone knows that. Mr. Crowley, Diary of a Madman, Over the Mountain, Flying High Again. And the dude was just incredible. He was an outstanding guitar player, and I always had a massive amount of respect for him, but now I'm like finally truly realizing how much I appreciate his music and how much I love his guitar playing.
And it's totally also the V too.
It's probably the V.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just you love him for the guitar the guitar shape.
What else? Yeah, I actually ended up buying the album Diary of a Madman like last week, and that's been on repeat a lot recently.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing it back. Bringing it back.
So we used to have Dan Stevenson as a co-host for like 2 episodes we had him, then he kind of like dipped out. But one thing that ended up sticking with us is a little thing that he did every so often called just
Yeah. It came to a point where we all just started doing it together during weird pauses.
It's amazing.
It's just the little sound bit that plays during the Snyder Productions splash card at the end of a lot of like Nickelodeon live action cartoons, live action TV shows, and it's the funniest fucking thing that's come out of this show, I think. But yeah, that's a little background on.
Oh, I can do it again.
No.
Yeah.
Don't.
I have the upgraded it's like the final the upgraded version. It's like Super Saiyan 2. Just.
All the eggs can sustain me.
All the eggs can sustain me. I am your wife.
Yay! References.
So Angus, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been listening to this week?
Sure. I got too close to the mic, didn't I?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good.
Just keep the cracks down to. Wait, why is the high crank so much?
Probably because I don't know. Probably because I was using that a while ago.
Yeah,
I don't never changed it.
I thought I fixed it, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So, what have you been listening to this last week?
Like nothing really new. I just want to say for those out there, I listened to like a shit ton of Amir again.
Amir again.
Yeah, I keep doing that. I can't stop listening to them.
Why do you keep going back to Amir?
I love Amir.
Oh,
Amir's
that
great.
sounds interesting. Amira again. That sounds good.
What?
Nothing. It was just a shitty joke. I don't know
I'm
why I made it.
confused. I need help. Call the police.
Call the fire department.
For the firemen. But yeah, I just listened to a lot of Jen. I did listen to one band I hadn't really listened to in a while called Surruption. I think I keep trying to get people to listen to them.
You should listen to them. They're like a mix between like tech death and just beatdown.
Ooh.
And it's just like, but it's like the fast kind of beatdown where like just like double bass pedals are going, and it just has these awesome just like palm muted like rhythms with these like nice like pinch harmonics placed at certain points to make this really cool like heavy rhythm. And the vocalist is like one of those guys you'd see like who's just like 6 feet tall, 300 pounds, chin beard and just like the lowest screams you've heard come out of a human being, and it's beautiful. They only have 2 albums, I think.
What's the name of this band?
Surreption.
Send me it. I'm interested.
Yeah, they're it's like I've even like seen videos of their bass player when he actually does shit, and it's like trying to. He's like pretty much one of those people. It's just like it is just he has like 6-string bass and it's just like everywhere, and it's just
my god.
You can it's hard to kind of pick it out because during those parts, because again the guitar it's just like, and it's metal, so it's hard. But yeah, I was actually listening to their first album, I think, from 2014 called Deterioration of Minds. It's a 8-track album. Each song's around like 3 minutes. It's a short but sweet album, and it's like just nice. It's a great time.
I don't want to interrupt your thought process, but when he mentioned Tech Death, I also just remembered that another band that I've been kind of jamming to lately is a band called Allegaon.
Legion. Oh
Yeah.
my god. I ended up hanging out with the guitarist Greg when he played in Providence. I think it was like I want to say 2015. They had just...
Ooh.
I think they had just... They were working on their most recent record. What was their most recent record called? Oh, Proponents for Sentience. Like, they were just working on it at the time, and I ended up hanging out with Greg through a friend of mine who learns under Greg. Like, he takes guitar lessons from him over Skype, and like he was a fun dude to hang around. We almost got to like go to IHOP with him for like pancakes right after the show, but like shitloads of miscommunications happened.
You didn't even do it right. I'm just ashamed. Shame on you. Shame.
Have you listened to Proponents for Sentience yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But my favorite song right now by them is definitely Vows for the Legions.
Vows for the Allegiance? What was that off of?
Legions.
Vows for the Legions. What was that off of?
I can't think of the name of the album, but I think it's their second album.
Hmm.
Or maybe it's like 12 Vows for the Legions. I can't think of the name of the song for some reason, but it's something like that.
Is it? I wonder if it's off the same album that the Golden Number song is. It's 1.116. I don't even remember what this song was even listed as, but it was the Golden Number, and like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Proponents for Sentience is also a really fucking cool album. You need to listen to it. It's got guest work from Soilwork. We got Bjorn, the vocalist of Soilwork, guesting on like the last track, and alongside him is one of the guitarists of Scar Symmetry playing in it, and like the guitar work in Scar Symmetry is unbelievable. So they add like a lot of really cool elements to that record. And that record itself is just really cool how thematic it is, and it delves into their deep like love of science and their interest in technological apocalypses and whatnot. And it's just really fucking cool. It's like one of my favorite records of that year, honestly, out of just what metal has done. And I suggest like getting your butt in gear and listening to that.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
Get those glutes worked.
What? What are you even on, Angus?
I'm on nothing, and that's the problem. I've had 2 people assume I'm on drugs when I'm not.
Are you sure about that?
I guess so. I want to believe I'm not on drugs right now.
I also want to mention that about a year ago I played a show with Spidera last January, and one of the bands that we played with was a band called High Command. After watching their set, I went home and I started listening to their demo that they had put on Bandcamp. And it was a 4-song demo. And that was on repeat for like a week straight. It was almost the only thing I listened to.
What were they like?
It's like a mix between thrash metal with elements of like heavy. I think I heard some like groove in there. My bad.
It's okay. It sounded like nuts in here.
My bad.
It's okay.
Yeah, they mixed elements of like thrash with just heavy stuff. It sounded a mix of like old stuff and modern stuff too. It was really interesting.
Oh, really? That's neat.
And even after that 1 week that it was on repeat, I still sometimes go back to it, and I've been listening to it a couple times this week too.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
It's happening, the show.
Do you know if they have like any other releases outside of their demo, or is it just like the demo out right now?
Just that one demo, I believe.
All right.
I'm gonna check right now, actually.
Wally's checking. Noelane, have you listened to anything interesting that you think you want to talk about at all?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well.
Well.
Listening to people talk weirdly and just go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right for life and whatnot. I know.
I'm trying to remember if I talked about after the burials, but like album Wolves Within at all.
I think you mentioned it last week.
Did I? I was hoping I didn't, because I need to tell Jake that I was wrong about After the Burial, and their later albums are actually kind of alright.
Well, you can inform him now because he's right here.
Well, inform me right now.
Really quick. I don't want to cut you off, but
Do it.
Cut me off. They actually did release a second demo with 2 tracks on it.
Ooh.
So I'm definitely gonna give that a listen when I get home.
That sounds pretty jamming. Almost cream filled.
We're jamming.
The tags for this are crossover, hardcore, metal, punk, thrash metal, and Worcester.
Worcester.
Ooh, Worcester.
Worcester.
That's my favorite genre.
But my favorite part about this is the buy now thing is $666 USD.
Aww.
It's definitely name your own price, though.
That's so good.
I like that.
I like it.
But yeah, I was actually listening. There's an album that came out from them called Wolves Within After the Burial, as I'm talking about. Because I previously said to this man that like that their first album was like kind of their best, and the other ones were just eh. And then I actually listened to this one, because apparently in this album the guitarist was using a 9-string guitar, so they turned into more of a gent band, but still in this one they still had those bits of like very insane technical guitar work, just like here and there, and like this weird song like track that's actually very kind of like popular for them for their gent side called it's called Neo Soul, and it's like this weird like kind of like descending syncopated kind of like maybe almost kind of syncopated, but just like this weird kind of like groovy gent like descending just like rhythm to it, and just like really cool over this like this kind of like almost like kind of synth like just like this weird like kind of like synth melody over it, just like and it was like this weird like it was like this weird mix of just metal, electronic, and all this other shit, and you actually like you need to hear it. It's like unbelievable. What are you doing?
I'm just checking out what he has on his
Ooh.
bookshelf.
Nice.
I'm a nosy piece of shit.
Yes, you are. You are a nosy piece of shit.
Like looking at that bookshelf.
I got some interesting
Dirty
things on
slut.
here. Like, are you familiar? You remember Steve from Blue's Clues, right?
Oh yeah.
I have one of his like first album. It's pretty
Ooh.
sauce. It's like very. It's a solid indie rock record. It's like really Flaming Lips inspired. It's got interesting like production behind it.
Do you have a physical copy of the album with the toilet song yet?
Not yet.
You need that.
I need to because just recent. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. He released an album alongside Steve Conti of the Flaming Lips and a project called Steven, and it's a children's album, and
That's interesting.
and one of the songs right after an existentialist unicorn song was "Now I'm pooping in the toilet bowl." Now I'm pooping in the toilet bowl. That
It's
is
awesome because the song starts off with this full on just toilet flush, just like full on crisp clear, and it's just like the loudest thing in the mix, and it's just going on, and then the song starts, and it's just hilarious. I love when he played it on the show, and I like lost my shit. I was
Willie
laughing.
DiNardo was here too, and he was just dying.
I laughed for like a 4 or 5 minutes straight. Like I couldn't stop laughing. It was just too funny. Him and Willie just kept on talking afterwards, and I was just still laughing to myself because I just couldn't. I couldn't take it all in.
I swear to God, if I go and find that broadcast and I can hear you just dying laughing in the background or something, I'm gonna cry.
You need to I think he kept it in the
I
show.
kept everything.
Yeah, I was like, afterwards, I'm like, you need to keep that because that is a beautiful moment. How well could we hear the song? Yeah.
It came out pretty well enough that YouTube made a copyright claim on the episode.
Oh my god. Well,
I think it was like the label that owned their music or like was like at least representing them for their music.
why are you doing this right now?
What are you doing? What?
Why?
Oh no.
What?
Oh, he's bringing it back. He's bringing back.
I'm
the
bringing it
song.
back.
Why? We don't need this right now, man.
No, just
What?
Oh my God.
why did you just?
What?
I'm just hoping to get to the chorus. Oh my God.
God. I actually haven't fully listened to that yet, and I need to.
You should pause that for now.
Yeah, that is just amazing. But Jake, I really want to kind of play this album for you because it's like beautiful.
Yeah, dude, send it to me and I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah.
I ended up actually listening to something interesting. I told you about Dead Letter Auction, right, Angus?
Maybe. I don't know.
They're the post-rock / post-hardcore band that I found one of the... I think there was like it was an EP or something for them. Self-titled or... No, it was... I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was a 99 EP that they released like probably like 4 years before they were actually signed to a label.
Are you good?
And released their first full length, Cancer of Time.
Sorry,
It was
that
like
bad.
It was a band that was really inspired by a lot of like the Canadian post rock bands, or at least kind of shared the same inspirations as those, like Godspeed You, Black Emperor, and whatnot. And a little bit of like, they probably share the same inspiration space as Broken Social Scene too. And I ended up listening to their debut full length. I didn't even know that they had a full length out. I just thought they had like a few like releases on vinyl, like just a small EPs and demos and whatnot. But no, they have a full length. It was 43 minutes of really interesting goodness. Like, do you remember some of the songs off of Another Musician's record?
Yeah.
It had like soaring guitars, but they were playing these kind of little out there riffs, or it's just like kind of, but a lot of spacey effects to them and stuff like that. Or sometimes the guitars would be kind of slow and walking. Or I'm not the best at explaining post rock because I am not as musically inclined as you guys are. But like Cancer of Time, their debut record, was really cool. It took like their slower elements, their sort of faster elements. It took like what I kind of adore about like early 2000s post hardcore, and applied it to the canvas of post rock, and just kind of brought it all together in this nice, neat little package that makes me depressed that they like broke up after this album apparently. And now it's like I want to explore and find out what happened to them. It was a really interesting release. Have you listened to anything out of like the post-rock genre, Jake?
Not really, but I'm open to anything. I'm open to anything and everything before I'll say like, oh yeah, I do like this, or oh no,
I would
don't
recommend
like it.
checking out these 3 albums. So, first off, you probably have heard shitloads about it already from other people, but Radiohead's OK Computer, it's really good as like an intro to like what post-rock is. Maybe even like Kid A as well. I'd say Godspeed You Black Emperors, F sharp, A sharp, Infinity. It's a lot more ambient though, and it kind of delves into a lot of other interesting things. And then you've got Broken Social Scenes, You've Forgotten People. That's an hour's worth of... Angus, what the hell are you doing?
They don't know because they can't see it. If you look.
It's an hour's worth of the coolest mixing possible. You need to listen to Broken Social Scenes, You've Forgotten People with headphones on, because they play with like positioning throughout the mix in a really interesting way, since there's about 12 people playing on that record. Yeah, it's
crazy.
It is crazy. And when I listened to it, I was just like, whoa, what the hell? Because there were times where drums were over here. There's a vocalist kind of a little bit behind my head, it felt like, because I don't know. But it was amazing. Like, there's wind sections over here, guitar over here, and sometimes they even change spots during songs. It was nuts. It was a wonderful experience. Like,
what album is this?
You've Forgotten People by Broken Social Scene. It's got a little bit of it's not crystal clear mastery, because, well, hey, it's an indie rock album. It's not going to sound absolutely perfect, but it is something really wonderful and fun, and I absolutely adore it. And I think you get a lot out of it too, just for like a professional standpoint, kind of hearing the experimentation in the mix and whatnot. But yeah, that's my little
Breaking
diatribe.
the silence.
No, but
no.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out now.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely send that to me because I'm very interested.
Why'd you get the nice chair? What did you do?
He's the guest.
Huh.
He's allowed the nice chair.
But why? Now you're setting a precedent.
Yes, I am setting a precedent.
Don't do that.
Hey, Willie got the good chair.
He did? Oh, well, he's Willie. He's different.
Angus?
What?
Nothing, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Did I listen to anything else interesting throughout this week?
I know I tried listening to another Opeth album.
You tried?
I tried. I was actually pretty successful. I need to warm up to their newer music.
I'm assuming you're not an Opeth kind of guy.
Me?
Yeah.
I love Blackwater Park. It is one of my favorite albums.
Opeth
time.
is wonderful.
Dude,
Aren't they like progressive?
They're like progressive death metal, like in their early years, and they kind of like dive back and forth between progressive death metal and just regular prog metal, and sometimes even a little bit into prog rock.
Yeah, but they're getting really heavy on prog rock, where it's the point where it's like kind of like weird organs and this more of kind of like very upbeat kind of prog, and it's kind of weird for them because a lot of their old shit was a lot of like just slower and more just like kind of like this like evil sounding kind of prog metal with a lot of mixture of just like these like very intense distorted sections or like these just very smooth but still kind of haunting clean sections. And they're one of their best. They're pretty much their best example of them is like back then is Blackwater Park, which is like one of their best albums, if kind of not their best.
Really, it's honestly one of the best albums. Like one of my favorites personally.
There's even a point where the last song, like the main kind of like melody, like the main riff to the song, like it opens up like on this acoustic guitar, and it's just like the most amazing thing I've ever heard anyone do.
They play, I think, all of Blackwater Park. They play in 3/4. Do they?
No, it's a lot of mixture of like it's mostly kind of, I treat it more as a compound. Like they play in like a 12/8 kind of thing.
Is the entire album?
Not the entire album. It's like it does a lot of changing between there are a lot of songs, especially some songs where it's like this sort of 12/8, and you can hear the bass doing these kind of weird like sweeping things going up, and it's just like beautiful the way like the bass is just playing on all the like on all 12 beats, and it's just like amazing. It's one of the best things I've ever heard.
Because I was gonna say an entire album in 3/4. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not entirely, but there is a lot of it.
I think there's a band at the heart of it in the area. They're a hardcore / post-hardcore band, and I think a lot of their material is actually in 3/4. We saw them back at Fall Fest, hosted by Tom O'Malley, back in October, and those guys the drummer was nuts. He was doing all this crazy shit while still maintaining a 3/4 beat, and I want to go back and find out if a lot of their older material is in that 3/4 time signature.
Yeah.
It's I have yet to give a full listen to their CD I have right here, but it's some good shit.
Our drummer Jesse can do crazy shit. He's easily one of the best drummers I've ever met, and probably one of the best I've ever listened to. The dude's fucking incredible.
Would thrash work in 3/4?
Yeah, I think so. I think it works.
I guess you could have.
You kind of want to do it probably in a compound, I think.
I guess you could have little sections in 3/4.
Well,
but then again, we have weirder parts. I don't want to give too much away, but in one of our songs, we do have a little section in 13/16.
Yeah, nice.
So I guess you could do 3/4, seeing as though, we have 13/16.
I think 3/4 could either work in say if you're doing a master of puppets when you're going into a clean kind of interlude solo, or it's just or you're doing a death metal thing, or a melodic death metal where you just get all folky for a minute, but do it in 3. I think it could work. It's weird, but I think it can. I don't know. I've actually never really thought of the idea of doing thrash in 3/4. I'd rather try it in compound. I also say I would consider Opeth to be playing in 12/8, hard, full on, because a lot of the riffs they play travel for those just go you can count to 12 and they'll be playing the riff over again, and it's just it really feels like an intended to be 12. For it, just because you can see oh, this is where a bar ends and the next one starts, sort of thing. That was loud. For those who are listening to the podcast, he's eating a lobster right now. He caught it with his bare hands 10 minutes ago, and he just 10 minutes before the show started, and he's just kind of eating it raw. He's just living off the land. But yeah, so is there any other interesting stuff for you guys want to talk about at all, or?
Just one last thing that I've been listening to lately. I have been listening to a little bit of classical music lately.
Classical, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, classical is something that I've always kind of appreciated, but never really found the need to listen to it.
That's fair.
I mean, yeah. I appreciate it for its compositional complexity and mastery, all the big great composers have, but I mean the closest I've ever really gotten to a classical is listening to something that would be considered kind of post-classical and delves into a lot of electronic synthesizing of all the different instruments in a classical orchestra. But tell us a little bit about your ventures into classical music.
I haven't really dived deep in classical. I've just recently gotten my feet wet. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm listening to too much of one composer, but I've listened to a little bit of Beethoven. I've listened to a little bit of Vivaldi. I really like Four Seasons. Specifically summer.
Have you been listening to any of Rachmaninoff?
What?
You haven't been listening to Rachmaninoff. You need to listen to Rachmaninoff. Put Rachmaninoff in your life.
He's the Russian pianist,
right? He's a famous Russian pianist back in the I want to say back in around the 40s-ish. He was back in the Soviet Union. Pretty much what happened with him is that he grew up kind of homeless. He had nothing, and so what happened, but for some reason he was able to just play piano to kind of get money to pay for food and shit like that. He had to
he had to start performing piano and learning it, and became this amazing, like, it's like this full on, just like, I heard I first heard him from a senior at my college who's I think actually she was like a 5th-year senior, like doing her like practicing her piece for her like recital, and it was like this one piece by him that was just like, it just like modal as all hell, and it's just like crazy shit. Like, you need to hear it. It is some of the most intense piano playing I've ever heard.
Was it? I think you showed me about a month or so ago. Weren't he wasn't he like traveling up and down the piano?
Yeah, he was it. Pretty much what happens is it's kind of like traveling in like motions where it just like he goes like down and then a little back up to a different note, and then starting on a slightly higher root note and doing that over and over again. I gotta find out which piece I've heard from him that because like it's like one of like the favorite things from him. I actually need to see if I can like find it on like Apple Music or something, because it's just like amazing. I gotta look down here. I asked the person who performed it which one piece it was. It was it's titled Moment Musical Number 4, which is the one I've heard from him. It's an amazing piece. Yeah.
You should totally like listen to Rachmaninoff. It's like he's just
tense. I also could be wrong about that story, but I think that's what I've heard about like who like Rachmaninoff is.
And it's all one word. That name. I think that's like, I don't think that's just like his last name or something.
I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm actually gonna do?
What else are you gonna do?
I'm gonna cut my dick off and feed it to a puppy.
I think you might want to cut that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably cut that out.
Yay.
That's fair. I was told to do that.
But by Will?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I was promised $1.
You are a whore.
That's it.
Will, I'm blocking you.
Also, earlier, since you touched me on the shoulder, if you intend to touch me, you better buy me dinner first.
So we're gonna cut away
Yay!
into a music break just so that we can get some time to gather ourselves, because we're all fucking idiots. Yeah. So we are.
I am your character arc.
Why is this happening to me?
How could this happen to me? I love these.
Yeah.
I posted the same wall twice. I don't know why. I just did.
What? Oh, okay.
This was
All
on
right.
the commuter rail.
But all right, so we are back, folks.
Yay!
Yeah, and for the next couple of minutes.
Hey, balls.
That is sexy. So Jake is going to tell us a little bit about what's been going on with Spidera, just so that we have a nice little idea on what he's been up to. Well, whatever stuff he can tell us without it like being too spoilery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I will say that we are currently in the talks, half working on our demo,
Nice.
an official demo.
Something that's like been, I want to say like 5 years in the making almost, because I think you guys started in like 2013ish.
Yeah, it's long overdue.
It really is.
We've just had a revolving door of lineups ever since we started, and just there's been too much on our plate. But it's finally happening, and it's finally in the works, and I'm just very happy.
We're happy for you too, man. It's awesome to see Spider finally get the release it deserves.
And I'm also pretty happy because I'm finally, I don't know how to put it into words. I feel like I'm finally good enough at playing guitar for me to write solid stuff and to actually record solid stuff,
You're just feeling like a feeling of completeness, like you've finally done something.
A little bit, yeah. Because when I first joined the band, I was like 14 at the time, and I'd only been playing for like a year at that point.
Yeah.
And so obviously I wasn't all that great at that point. But me being me, practicing every day for like 5 years, I've gotten a lot better.
I'm just like impressed that like you've managed to pull off practicing almost every day for 5 years, never quitting at it. Like,
Yeah.
And we're like all blessed just to see how good you are.
Yeah, there was a point where I didn't play for like I want to say maybe 2 weeks, but I was just really sick at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a week. I don't want to say 2 weeks, so don't quote me on it, but there was a time that I didn't play for at least a week straight, and there have been a couple times where I just haven't had the chance to practice for a day, maybe 2, maybe 3 at most.
I will quote you on that. I'll put it in an essay. The works cited in MLA 8.
Because MLA 7 is for pussies.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say the rest of it, because I'm like, I say that a little too much.
But yeah, that's pretty cool, like hearing everything starting to come together for you guys.
I'm really excited because we've got 2 old songs that we wrote a couple years ago at least. Those songs being Revelations and Scramble of Humanity. I'm sure people remember those songs.
Well,
And
they're
then
on, I think they're on SoundCloud.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not too happy with it. I'm not too happy with those recordings, so it really feels great to re-record it so that it sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since my vocals on that were just way out of key. It just did not sound good.
I mean, that's gonna be awesome when it finally comes around. Do you know who you're working with for production and mixing and whatnot?
Our the guitar player Max is actually helping us with that stuff.
Is he finding a new guy, or is he like doing all the mixing and mastering himself?
He's doing all the mixing and mastering himself, I believe.
Ooh, nice.
The dude's a genius. I have just so much respect for him. I have a lot of respect for everyone in my band, really. But, learning that, he can do this, that, and just a million other things in between. I just have this immense newfound respect for him.
That's awesome.
Like I said, I already had a massive amount of respect for him prior, but just the dude's a fucking genius. You know, he's an incredible guitar player. I can't even tell you. He's really smart. He really knows what he's doing with everything, and he's going out of his way to help us mix, master, record, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's really great.
Do you know what other stuff has he mixed and mastered in the past? Do you know this offhand?
I don't, but you know, he has some other projects on the side, and he's had other bands and he's released other stuff. So I'm sure he's done mixing and mastering before, but either way, it just feels great to have that.
Yeah. I mean, just to finally have like your foot in the door and to finally have your work displayed out in the open for everybody to see. Your current maximum potential.
Yeah.
And I just can't keep. I gotta keep saying it. Like, I'm really proud of you guys. Like, been waiting for this for years.
Thank you.
I mean, it's actually funny because you're probably gonna get your release out. If the Caps could just get their release out finally, like, because I think they've had like almost the same wait time for a release almost. Actually, I think they had like Did they have like a single out like years ago or something?
They released Camco, and they also released a live EP of them, just of a few covers that they do.
All right.
Everything else from their originals is on YouTube, I think, somewhere.
But on top of those two songs that I mentioned, we have two other songs.
Ooh.
One of which actually has the 13-16 section.
Nice.
Which I actually wrote the entire song by myself. I'm extremely proud of it.
I can't wait for it.
And we've got another song. It's got riffs written by our bassist Tank.
Nice.
One of my favorite riffs of all time is in that. I wrote the rest of the song. The other two songs, Revelations and Scramble. Scramble has a couple of riffs that I wrote in it forever ago. It's gotten a really old riff that Nick actually wrote for a previous band, so that's really cool. And then Revelations, that is a song that Nick actually wrote with our drummer at the time, who could actually play bass.
That's pretty sweet. God damn it. What the fuck are we doing? Oh, jeez.
But
I'm
yeah,
doing unspeakable things.
It's finally coming together, and I'm just really happy about that. And it's just, I'm so excited to finally get it done.
And I'm actually curious, Jake, if you were to be in any other project doing any other kind of genre, what would it be?
Oh shit. Is it like another band that's already
another
around?
Band, yeah. Just like making if you had to like take your music adventures to another genre and another style, what would you want it to be?
Another band that's already around?
Or just create a new band that has like a new genre.
Create a new band.
But like you guaranteed to have a good audience.
Fun fact, not barely anyone knows about this. Really, Tank, maybe a couple other people. A little while back, I kind of wanted to start some sort of side project called Celtic.
Celtic?
Yeah. And it was I was going to spell it Keltik.
Alright.
And I wanted to do some sort of like, not beatdown, but like modern type metal stuff.
Alright. Something kind of like along the lines of the modern metalcore, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, but no one really. I posted about it on Facebook, and I was saying like, hey, I kind of want to do something different with my music. You know, someone should hit me up so that we can toss around ideas, and maybe we can do something with this. And lo and behold, no one really hit me up about it.
Aw, that blows.
And I just figured, you know, I'm more of a thrash guy, I listen to older stuff. You know, I listen to more death metal. I listen to more thrash, groove, stuff like that. And really the only new music that I listen to is stuff that's influenced from older bands, except for like Elgaon.
Yeah, yeah.
But if something like that happened, then I wouldn't really complain.
That's awesome.
It would just kind of give me a chance to just fuck around and see what I can make.
Are there any hopes that you have for your music career going forward that you'd like to just talk about?
Well, for one thing, my number one priority for this year is to get this demo done. We were planning on doing that like wicked early in the year, and we haven't really had the chance to do that just yet, but I'm actually going to talk to the guys about, you know, doing it sometime within the next couple of weeks and really cracking down on it. We actually already have Scramble recorded.
Nice.
And we're going to be really cracking down on the other songs.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. But any other plans for Spidera you guys got in your heads rattling around right now?
Well, beside the demo, I really want to write some more songs. I'm really looking forward to that. We do have a show coming up in August, right after my birthday.
Nice.
It's August 17th. It's in Rhode Island. It's 21 plus. Don't ask me how I got in. I'm not sure either. I kind of think they just figured that I'm with the band, so they figured they'd let it slide. But it's 21 plus, and we're going to be playing at Dusk in Providence, I believe.
Ooh, Dusk. I've seen like a lot of shows going through there recently. I'll definitely keep an eye out for that show, and I'll try and make my way there if I have the chance.
We were also supposed to play some sort of show in Brockton next month, but I kind of think that didn't really fall through.
That like just didn't pan out?
I guess, yeah.
Oh, that blows.
But you know, we're always on the lookout for more shows, and we're just trying to get out there more.
Yeah.
But it's really hard. Just because no one's really interested in in the kind of music that we make.
I mean, like, you just need to find the right audience and the right kind of. You need to strike at the right time, because I mean, bands like Graviton have like, and Screams have like gotten a nice little following so far.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
just gotta get on like just play the shows you can, get on there, like do what you can. And then soon you can start getting yourself opening for like big acts coming through the area. You'll have to probably step your way into a Sammy's Patio again relatively soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like once you like start getting big, like you guys will probably fly big, because I mean, you guys have really nailed your thrash sound, I'd say. And yeah, just gotta work at it, man.
Yeah.
We all got faith for you. We all got faith for you guys and Spidera, and we're excited for whatever's coming down the pipeline.
Thank you. You know, the pieces are all there. We're just putting them into place, you know. And the first piece that we're really putting together, or the first few pieces rather, is the demo.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be working on like more shows.
Sweet.
Although we're still working on shows, but you know, just the demo is the first thing on our plate.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm just looking so forward to that, and I'm really hoping to get some good responses, and I'm confident that we will. I'm really, really proud of what we've become and how far we've come, and just our skills as a band. I'm just so proud of us all, and so I'm really happy to finally have this to come to fruition.
We're proud too.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna cut back into a little bit more of a music break, and then we'll definitely back with a review. So give us.
Carl told me to.
therapist won't take care of me. And you know I've tried that therapy. I'm not complaining, just letting you know. It's like carrying the coffin to your own bloody wake. But my aching joints and rapid heart were no one's mistake. And even the most broken can find a way to heal with a new vision of hope and a new way to feel. I spent these years carrying my own way. I may need a lot of breaks, but I walk in my own pace. I'll take every pill, I will take every shot if it means just getting rid of what I got. I'll live. I'll live. I'll live. Oh, I'll live. And I speak into the world in a prayer, and I'll tell them just what I think. I'll catch up soon. I just need a break. And it's not up to you to tell me, oh, how I fucking feel. You weren't dealt my hands, and they weren't your cards to deal. It's like carrying the coffin to your own bloody weight. But my aching joints and rapid heart were no one's mistake. And even the most broken can find a way to heal with a new vision of hope and a new way to feel. I spent these years carrying my own way. They need a lot of breaks, but I walk in my own pace. I'll take every pill, I will take every shot if it means just getting rid of what I got. I'll live. I'll live. I'll live. Oh, I'll live. I'll live.
A young girl has been taken away from her home, and the suspect appears to be an old woman. We have a witness, possibly an accomplice here. This story is one of crime.
Good evening, I'm with the department. Let's start with the part when you said they departed. I can tell you're smart. Can you remember who was there? This young girl is missing. Probably scared. I need features to match to this capture. Maybe find what she was after. Advanced in age, you say? Hair curled, possibly gray. I know the light wasn't perfect. Just try to recall. After all, this may be the only lead that we can follow. I'm sorry if I seem uncaring and hollow. It's my third case tonight. They just get easier to swallow. But please, if you could continue. I know it's hard and memory can be fickle, but still, she was laughing. Is that what you saw? Keep going, correct me as I draw. Fill in the blanks, try to grasp what collapses. These situations tend to be very traumatic. Just fight through the static.
Oh, there was something tragic happening upon that mattress. The hag was asking me for Vaseline from inside the cabinet, just like a counselor, like you, right?
No, I'm not a counselor, I just need to draw a sketch. I'm sorry for the pressure, promise after you can rest. She was old, yes I got that, you don't have to repeat it. I just need a little more detail to flesh out these features. I hope you know you were the closest to the scene of the crime, so I need you to relax and take a photo from your mind. You can go home as soon as I have an illustration, and the detective asks for an alibi explanation. No, I don't suspect you had something to do with it. We have to just cover our bases. This is business as usual.
slightly. She knows who runs to her and she's on top of the situation. She says I'm dead if she ever got caught. She tried to plead for me, a knife pointed join her onslaught. I refused at first, but then she told me it was not hard for her to find the ones I loved and put them in a crock pot. I doubted her, so she found my girl and made her dissolve. Why? She twitches if you fight her. She seems addicted to rock cops. I've been on her tail forever now, but I know she will not stop. Did I tell you that she aged for ages? Hers the color of every Star Wars spaceship. If I continue to say she should be famous in the papers, and she know I'm running about to save myself. Now I blame myself for the fate I'm in hell to with this place out. I'll tell you what I know, cause I'm wasted now. The touch of her flesh was like tainted crown. She held her chest like a fainted flower. My tongue on her breast, so it tasted foul. That's what she forced me to do when I tried to resist. I was stuck on a leash, I was tied to my wrist. Suicide or assist, that was my only options. And I wasn't about to die to this lost wit. I'm thinking that would be the best description. Short fuse, probably having a red conniption. Now then I'm somewhere at a her patrol. I can only imagine that what hurts the most is the families of the people she had turned to ghosts. Finding out her account was so unnervingly close. Listen, you only did it cause I was first to go. There are many others to train. Worse are foes. Your mules and dogs and slaves hurts to know that even your friends are probably under her control. It got personal when my girl was posted in the Amber Alerts cause she worked for those who wanted her captured and burned to toast. If I say it now, she'll be the first to know. She's the officer who took me here from my home. Is she near or are we alone? I bet she's behind the mirror. Go after her! No! Now I'm stuck behind these prison walls. She stares me down from the bed she's sitting on. She shares the cell and thinks to make me crawl. A lady paradise was looking sick, but now she's taking off.
Hey, what's that you're drawing? Oh, I'm drawing a square. You're drawing a square. I know you're drawing a square. You're drawing a square. I know you're drawing a square. You're drawing a square. I know you're drawing a square. You're drawing a square. I know you're drawing a square.
Trapped here. I don't know where anything is. This is like kind of angular. I don't know what's there. I don't know if anybody put me here. Some kind of mental instability. Some four angles here. Anxiety inducing. This is what the world is. This is what my world is now. Think that. Doesn't seem like there's any way out of here. Door I'm not looking for. There isn't a door here. There isn't even a window. This empty space. How did I get here? I don't know what happened. I remember there was some sort of cycle. There was something spinning around me. There was some kind of typhoon. There was something going on here. I find my way out of here. There's nothing in here. I can't break the walls down. I need some sort of sustenance. I need some sort of sustenance that this room doesn't seem to be providing. Nobody seems to be providing anything for me. Fuck, I need to get out of here. Going honestly, it is. I don't even know if anything is going to be happening, but I need to escape this. All right. Wait a minute. Feel your eyes on me. I know that you're here, watching me attempt to figure out where I am. You put me here. You put me here, and now you're observing me like some sort of zoo animal. Well, here I am. What is it exactly that you want from me? Listen, I know you're here, goddammit, say something! Don't leave me here. Don't fucking leave me here. This isn't where I belong. I have friends and family. Listen, there are people that I need to get back to. I can't stay here. Where are you? Where am I? Where are you trapping me? Answer my questions, goddammit! I'm not trapped in a room. I'm not trapped in some sort of box. This is myself. I'm lost within the emptiness of my own mind. Well, in that case, alright. Well, there has to be something that can get me out of here. I have to apply color to this place. I have to put something in this box. I have to put... What? Who? Fuck! Where do I go? What do I do? Who are you? Alright. I remember yesterday I was fine. There was nothing like this. There was something in my head. Where did it all go? Who am I now? So I see that you seem to be figuring things out. You've finally realized where you are, who you are. Well, maybe not who you are. You seem to be struggling with that one. But you seem to have figured...
Right now.
And alright.
Okay, now you can hear it.
Angus, don't. Guys.
Alright.
Alright,
You can
so,
cut that out.
Yeah. And now we are back with our second to last portion, maybe just the last portion of the episode. We're going to be talking about Perennial Quest debut LP, Warriors Through Eternal Time. I think that's the name, right? Warriors Through Eternal Time? I don't know if I'm screwing that up.
Was it? I think
Warriors Through Endless Time.
Endless.
I
You keep doing that.
I keep doing that.
Come on, you got to think the Dragon Force song. That's like almost the same exact title.
Yeah, Angus, you know what?
I don't complain.
Yeah,
I think there's probably a reason.
But
that.
all right.
Where is
so
it?
let's tell you a little bit about Perennial Quest and Warriors Through Endless Time. So, Warriors Through Endless Time is a
the Dragon Force albums.
7-piece progressive power metal band out of Everett, Massachusetts, from what I understand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the name of the Dragon Force song I think of. Souls Lost in Endless Time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Neat. Actually, I think it's Everett. I saw Everett somewhere in here.
I guess so.
I guess they're just listing themselves as a Boston band.
We're all just, Massachusetts. Everyone just lives in Boston. There's no other towns, just Boston and Plymouth Rock, and that's it.
Yeah, but everyone lives in Boston.
Yeah, everyone lives in Boston.
Everyone kind of lives in
but
Boston.
Everyone always just goes to each morning on a pilgrimage to pray to Plymouth Rock that they won't just randomly start hailing on our asses. That's how it works. We all just pilgrimage on the MBTA to Plymouth Rock.
This won't. Oh, is it? It is.
Yeah, that's what we do. We just
might need you to come
we,
forward when you're talking.
And we never get there on time either because it's the MBTA.
I like how the camera just cannot see me.
I know that happens to me sometimes.
I'm so sorry.
You gotta be like me and like when you're I can't do it anymore. But like when you're like you can like mold into the thing because your hair is dark enough to do that, and then you're gone. We've disappeared.
I am no human. I am just microphone.
I am gent.
But all right, so let's start talking about this release here before we just basically lose the entire night just jerking around.
All right.
So Warriors Through Endless Time, about a 46-minute album. It's got about 6 tracks on it. And what were you guys' initial impressions listening to this? How did you guys feel?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I had mixed feelings on it.
All right.
Overall, I'd probably give it about a 6 out of 10.
Just flat out going at numbers already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where I'm at with it. First, I want to say that the vocals just weren't doing it for me.
All right.
However, I can see that the vocalist is very talented. I can tell that he's put a lot of time and effort and work into his vocals, and I can very much appreciate that. Just his vocal style wasn't for me.
All right, I can understand that. I kind of felt there was an issue with the vocals as well in the release, but it was more on the side of it not being mixed properly, I think. Like, the vocals weren't loud enough in the mix for what power metal should be, because I've listened to a fair amount of power metal, and I've gotten a good understanding of what it should kind of sound like, and it just kind of was too drowned out by the guitars at times, too drowned out by the drums or the bass or whatever, or sometimes the synths kind of were like a little bit over his voice. His presence in the mix needed to be stronger, and there needed to be a more clearer distinction in the lines between the band members, I'd say. But I mean, I kind of think that, like, as a first attempt, this is pretty fine. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Definitely. I also want to talk about just how overall talented everyone was.
Mm-hmm.
I can really appreciate how I can already just from the first few minutes of listening to it, I could already tell how much effort they put into it and how much they've practiced, and I can fully recognize that, and I can really appreciate that. Me being a musician myself and am currently recording my own stuff, I can fully see how much effort they've put into it, and I can really appreciate that.
Definitely.
So, the guitar work was incredible. The drums were really good. Bass was really good. Vocals, again, those were really good, just not my style. I couldn't really get behind them. which I think is fair.
Yeah, like to each their own in that little aspect.
Yeah.
Like, Angus, what did you think about Perennial Quest's release?
I was crying.
What the fuck?
Why are you crying?
Because I'm a grown ass man. That's why.
But there was no. Why were you crying without reason?
Oh, because I can. I'm a free man.
Are you sure about that?
Are you a man or are you a dog?
Are you a man or a mouse?
I don't know if I can answer that question because I'm not an okay individual. Please send help. Just $1 a day.
Just $1 a day will help this kid not die.
You have $1. No, I liked it.
You liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
You seem to like everything that comes through here.
I know.
Do you have a lot more complex thoughts than just I liked it?
Yeah,
I liked it.
I don't know. I was just kind of. I was very impressed for like, cause they're not like they're not like, are they even? They're like an independent band, right?
Like, yeah, they're fully independent.
I was like surprised at like just like the level that everyone was at and just like what I was listening to, and I really liked how it just starts out and how it just kind of like I got that power metal, but it also kind of just sounded like a bit like had that charm of like local like for like a kind of like more of a like a. I guess is lo-fi the right term for it?
Yeah, lo-fi.
It had that like charm of being like a lo-fi like kind of like power heavy metal thrash metal kind of thing going on there.
A little bit of folk in there too.
Yeah, there was a little bit of thrash, especially to kind of like the drums and the way some of the songs just came in just like head on at you, and it was just like, and actually I was really satisfied listening. I'm like, this is nice.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this release itself has been really enjoyable as it kind of delves into a lot of like what you can do with power metal, like creating slower moving ballads, creating faster but more anthemic songs,
and like through all the time, I just like all I can think of is like half of these guys definitely have listened to like a lot of Dragon Force albums.
Dragon Force is kind of like a culmination of everything like 90s power metal.
Yeah.
Like they probably enjoy a lot of like the classics in power metal.
Yeah,
like
that
Blind
too. But I'm just
Guardian,
like their band name, like the album, one of the main like name of this release like is almost word for word a Dragon Force song title, and I'm like I'm not sure if that is fully coincidence or not.
I feel like it's a coincidence,
especially like, the style of the vocalist really sounds a lot like the style of Dragon Force's vocalist.
You see, I was kind of getting a slight Dickinson vibe, I think, going along there.
It's not really full on because the Dickinson's very like a lot of I think it's vibrato, and like in his voice like full like hard. And this vocalist is more of like a kind of like just like light on that, and a lot of just like having a lot more of just like just straight powerful kind of notes.
I would say though that I had a thought about. I lost my thought entirely about what I was about to say, but I feel like they bring in a lot of Warriors Through Endless Time. That's kind of an amalgamation of the countless bands that have like, because Time is like covered a lot in power metal. There is a lot of songs about warriors. It's just the culmination of the general themes across power metal, and kind of seeing what they bring together is. Oh.
I did it again.
This is what they bring together.
Motherfucker, I did it again. Sorry.
Like, this is what they kind of bring together when they kind of bring their adoration for power metal together. Like an album about warriors fighting through time itself. Like, I mean, even Winter Sun has literally an album just called Time, and like there's is a fixation with deep fantasy and whatnot throughout a lot of power metal, or deep fantasy, sci-fi fantasy, high fantasy, etc., etc. You kind of get the gist.
Yeah.
Like if there could be if there could be like a band that plays for just an Elder Scrolls style music video, it probably would end up being any power metal band, maybe even Perennial Quest. But it's a little thought on itself.
Yeah.
Like, what were you guys' favorite songs on it? Oh, like, could you guys pick out a favorite on this?
Yes.
All right.
just yes. That's it. It's a hidden track. You didn't get it. I did. No, my favorite song was actually Lone Lost Sparrow.
I could kind of feel Lone Lost Sparrow too. It kind of mixed in the right, slower, folkier elements and like brought together a really nice arrangement.
Yeah. It was nice. There was one part that did kind of bother me at first, which was like that like dual guitar thing going on like before the chorus happened, and it has a weird interval that just doesn't sound okay, or it almost sounds like a guitar, like some of the notes were just a bit like out of like tune for some reason. I don't know, just something about it seemed wrong, but everything else about that song was perfect, especially like the lyricism and the choruses just really like captured me, and it was nice.
Yeah, I can feel you on that, man. Like just I feel like the arrangement itself and that mix with the cutaway into classical guitar pasted across like the whole song, it just like really resonated.
Yeah, I liked that. It was just a nice like slower and just like and the whole kind of like anthemy ballad thing really just it really they did well on that, and that's why it's like it's my favorite on there.
What about you, Jake? Can you pick out a favorite on this?
I couldn't really pick out a favorite.
But you'd say you had some enjoyment of your time with this record, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Overall, not my type of music, but I do I do look forward to seeing these guys, grow and progress and get bigger, because I think that they have it in them, and I think that they're talented musicians.
Yeah, definitely. For pulling together a power metal album, like especially when the standard for power metal in the industry is you got to have a crystal clear, perfect recording, mixing and mastering. Like them having the balls and the talent to put together this, I'm thoroughly impressed just on like the notion of what they are.
Yeah, it's something that kind of like got it, because it had like a little charm to it of just, especially when you get like opened up with a Cage Delirium, it's just like, and you just get that kind of raw like just drum and just like that raw fast drum, like raw this fast just drum beat, like just raw this raw kind of sounding recording, and just like, and everything just a bit more lo-fi dueling guitars, and it was just like, it just like kind of like had this thing that was like, I like this, like especially for like a kind of a smaller band in comparison to a lot of other power metal.
I feel like though not really a major problem, but a minor problem would be that I think the drum wasn't mic'd up as well as it could have been. So some places it kind of felt flat, some places it felt a little bit too full.
Yeah, it was like one thing, the kick drum, the bass drum was a bit like,
the bass drum was like the big problem out of the drum kit.
And there was one point where I'm trying to remember which song it was, where I can hear the ride, and it sounds disconnected from the drum kit.
All right.
And it was like a very like weird. It was like during a certain point where it was like kind of during a kind of like a solo-y kind of bridge area. It was later in the album, somewhere around like Angel of Fortune or Beast of Prophecy or Cast in Shadows. One of those. I can't remember which one it was, but it's just like this faster thing going on. The drums are kind of like going crazy and having their like time to really show off some stuff, and it's just like, and then they're doing like a ride that sounds almost kind of off, and just off from the song itself, sounded a little out of time, and just and also kind of like stood away from the drum kit, like it wasn't the way they mic'd it was kind of weird, and it sounded very disconnected, kind of like pulled you out of it.
All right. I didn't pick up on that, but I mean These are like little nitpicks, though.
Yeah,
It's not like
that's what it
the
is.
end of the world.
Yeah, I still have to say I kind of like it was. I mean, there's not a song I didn't like on it. I can say that I kind of like every song.
Yeah, I can see it. I can feel that. I mean, this is a good step in the direction of like these guys. Like they certainly know what they're doing. It's just a matter of seeing where they can go from here, what they can do, because they call themselves progressive, but I didn't really see many progressive elements. And I hope that in their future career they can kind of bring forth more experimentation, more of whatever they want to do, because you know, like a small time power metal band trying to crop up nowadays is very admirable, and I just want to see what they do. I want to see where they're going with this. I want to see them like play at Sammy's Patio and any other metal venues that I may not be aware of. But yeah, that's a little bit of my diatribe. Would I recommend this? Certainly would. If you're someone who really enjoys power metal and wants to hear something kind of fresh and new, because as much as power metal can be derivative, I feel like these guys have a good personality going.
I'd sort of like I'd kind of just play it for anyone who I think just needs to listen to like some sort of like just the lighter side to metal, which kind of ends up being power metal.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I'd just be like, just kind of throw this on, or like throw them on like someone like Cage Delirium or like Lone Lost Sparrow or something. Just be like, this is, but like I mean like this is power metal, but this is also kind of a local band to hear, and like so you should listen to this.
I'd say also one last thing, the pianos. And since no matter when they come up, they're always beautiful.
Yeah.
Whether it be like little piano breaks, little backing synths, beautiful. Like whoever made those decisions there, whoever made the decisions on how the synths should sound and where they should go, fucking 10 out of 10. I'm a sucker for piano. You've won my heart.
Yeah, I'd have to say that. I did feel like every song kind of had something to offer with it too. It was just like I had a weird thing that when I listened to Beast of the Prophecy, I'd hear that other part, like that slower part, like with like I think it had like acoustics on it. It was just like someone doing a spoken word bit, and I just thought it was a different song for some reason.
Oh, the deeper growly, that was actually a really cool moment.
I really did like that. It did feel like a different song for a second. I thought I actually went to the next song, but I was like, oh, this is the same song.
Yeah. It was nice. But yeah, so Jake, would you recommend this to someone?
Yeah, why not? You know, I'm a sucker for listening to new music, and I know plenty of other people who enjoy listening to new music. And my drummer, I recommend him new stuff all the time. So I'd tell him to check this out. Maybe he would be into it.
Yeah, nice. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so I guess that kind of gets our diatribe of Perennial Quest Warriors through endless time.
Yeah.
Before I fuck it up again. And yeah, I guess we'll. Has there been any new announcements as far as any like big news that no one else has heard about? Like any news that's mattered in this last week for music?
I don't know.
Not necessarily in the past week, but Ex Mortis just recently finished recording their new album.
Ooh, nice.
Not much is known except for the fact that they finished recording it, and they brought in one of the guitar players and the drummer from Warbringer, because their own drummer and other guitar player were absent. So Warbringer helped them out with recording it, and yeah, the album's done.
That's awesome.
And I'm honestly really, really hyped for it.
Good hype.
The two albums that I'm really looking forward to the most in 2018 is Megadeth and Ex Mortis.
Wait, Megadeth is putting out something right now?
I think it's like their last album now. I heard someone saying like
I think
one of the big four was like gonna release their last album this year.
I think someone was telling me it was Megadeth.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think someone was saying it might have been Megadeth. I mean,
I can't.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, If it were to be like Megadeth's last album, would you be mad? Do you think?
I'd be devastated.
Really?
Oh my god, I'd cry. And anyone who knows me knows that Megadeth is hands down one of my biggest influences of all time. I love Megadeth.
The Dave and the Daves. Mega Dave, sorry.
It's bad because a lot of my favorite guitar players are named Dave. Yeah. Dave Davidson, David Sanchez, Dave Mustaine.
There's a thing. I bet one day you're gonna come up and like you've changed your name to Dave and your pronouns are Dave and Dave. I also need to speak of that. I need you to show. Have you seen their band photo and how like a lot of them creepily look like Dave Mustaine?
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. They're actually Mega Dave. It has happened. Like that, someone who made that video who was like, where he was like referring to, like he was pretending to be like Dave Mustaine and referring to all his members as Dave, and it's just like it's actually come true. Like anyone out there, you need to find like their most recent band photo for like Apple Music. It's just like because all the members look like Dave Mustaine, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. And, I think this kind of wraps up the show. Also, check out the new Robin Hood not album. What am I saying? New song, The Sea Separates. It released at 3 p.m. on Sunday, which is today.
Yay.
Well, maybe like not today, depending on when you listen to this.
This was recorded on Sunday,
and I've been like, and I've been jamming it a little bit today. It's been a nice bop. I'm just waiting for it to be on Bandcamp finally, so I can buy it. Have like a nice lossless quality. Because I mean, all you can listen to for it right now is on YouTube, and
okay.
It's like, man, release your shit on Bandcamp like almost simultaneously.
Oh man, Apple Music me.
Or Apple Music, like it takes a certain time for it to be approved, so there's gonna be delays on that unless you can get it out ASAP.
It was a funny thing. Apparently, I was hearing about the way you can get onto like it was like a certain like I think it was like for the how to get on like stores for like I think it was like either like the Google Pixel or something like that or Microsoft or a different other Windows phone.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain marketplace where it was happening. You had to randomly email this guy called Dave. He was like a Dave L at Microsoft.
All right.
And it was just, and you'd be like, "Hey, can you put my stuff on there?" And it'd be like, "Sure." And then it just gets added on there.
Huh. Intriguing.
Yeah. I just felt like I needed to say it because I just still think that's hilarious. I've been laughing at that all week.
All right. Neat. So Angus, for next week, we are unsure if we're gonna have a guest, but do you want to talk about the X Forgiveness Denied X release?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So yeah, next week keep your eyes out for X Forgiveness Denied X and their EP from I think it was like September or something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
We're gonna finally talk about that, and we may or may not have a special guest we've been trying to arrange for a while. But yeah, keep your eyes out for that. Jake, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks. You for having me.
I appreciate you, Jake.
I appreciate you having me.
I appreciate your dedication to Sparkle Motion.
We're done here, folks. Catch us on Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe, like us. We're done here. We love you. Bye.
Bye.